Business Talk, your one-stop shop in the world of business. It's on Love FM 105.1 every Saturdays, 2 to 3:30 p.m. Don't miss out. Business Talk. In 1 hour 30 minutes, we provide listeners with up-to-date information and insights into various aspects of business and finance. We engage in insightful discussions with local and international business leaders, economists, entrepreneurs, and other professionals. Join Love FM 105.1 and Love TV Live this and every Saturday from 2 to 3:30 p.m. for the program Business Talk. Gain valuable insights into the world of business as we profile successful Liberian entrepreneurs in and out of Liberia as they provide business strategies, entrepreneurship, and financial planning. Business Talk, your one-stop shop in the world of business. It's on Love FM 105.1 every Saturdays, 2 to 3:30 p.m. Don't miss out. Business Talk. In 1 hour 30 minutes, we provide listeners with up-to-date information and insights into various aspects of business and finance. We engage in insightful discussions with local and international business leaders, economists, entrepreneurs, and other professionals. Join Love FM 105.1 and Love TV Live this and every Saturday from 2 to
Yeah,
3:30 p.m. for the program Business
I'm
Talk.
live.
Being vulnerable into the world of business as we profile successful Liberian entrepreneurs in and out of Liberia as they provide business strategies, entrepreneurship, and financial planning. Business Talk, your one-stop shop in the world of business. It's on Love FM 105.1 every Saturdays, 2 to 3:30 p.m. Don't miss out.
It's always good to be here in a wonderful way to welcome you to the program Business Talk. Of course, Business Talk is your 1 hour, 30 minutes interactive discussion that provides insights of our business, giving you the techniques, giving you the opportunity to learn those things that you haven't learned before getting into the world of business. And for those of you who are already into business, but you've missed some steps, we guide you in the process in giving the various steps in how to become a successful business person. We're also looking at henceforth all of those things that characterize a good business. We have with us seasoned professionals who have knowledge when it comes to the world of business. In person of Mr. Alvar Toba Jr. He's here with us, one of our co-hosts. We also have Mr. Alkina R. Phillips. He's also one of the co-hosts on the program. My name is Rufus Divine Cannon, your host back home, making sure to do the twist and turn so that you in Radioland can get all of the happenings, get all of your points to the airwaves. We are live on Love TV. On Facebook. We are also live on our online radio, loveradioonline.com. So you can check out all the platforms. Joe Africa, AMI Gibby. You have we're also live on Smart in Grand Jida County and other platforms across the world. Mr. Alvar Tobar is in the US and Mr. Alkina R. Phillips, both are in the US. I love to say good afternoon from mine end and welcome. Yet another day of education.
Thank you. Thank you. Education and learning.
Mhm. Mr. Phillips? So you need not to stress yourself. Just call your friend, tell a friend that indeed business talk is taking another level. We continue to provide the knowledge that you need to move on. Basically, we are looking at small businesses. How can we improve the Liberian businesses, especially the driving tools to the economy? Some may say, hey, look, the small businesses are very powerful. They energize, they serve as the engine to the bigger businesses. So we have the experts, they are in studio, Mr. Alkina Phillips and Mr. Alva Topa. Both of them will be sharing with you the knowledge from either sides. So we begin, Mr. Topa.
Yes, it's so important what we're trying to do here to communicate to people on small businesses how they can improve the process of getting into business and all the stuff around it. And then, like you said before, we'll be bringing in other people, other professionals, other experts who can help us. So I'm always excited to be on this platform. And like he said, my seatbelt strapped, even though I have to get up, but we're ready to move.
Mr. Phillips?
Well, again, I mean, we've been on this journey, and it's so refreshing, exciting to have Ava as part of this team to bring his level of understanding, his level of knowledge, and his depth to expand upon this, right? Because as I always say, no one person knows anything or everything. But when you're building a team, you can remember from the beginning of this journey, we talked about the 10 important principles. Right? And one of the key principles we talked about was the team and building a team, making sure that you have people on this team that share the vision with you and share the objective and have the passion to drive this vision is so important. So, bringing someone like me, talk about onto the team to push, to drive, to educate, to enlighten the Liberian business community, both at home and abroad, in critical knowledge nuggets, in different aspects of entrepreneurship, aspects of business, and so we can refine this private sector of Liberia that is so critical to the building of the economy, creating jobs, providing opportunities, attracting foreign investments, and most importantly, the diaspora investments. And this weekend, I'm in Minnesota with my lovely wife here. She's she's a small Liberian business here in the U.S. as well. She's doing a wedding project up here. But there's so many Liberian businesses in this Minnesota area thriving, succeeding, and there's a desire for all of these diaspora Liberians up here to go back home and participate in the building of the country, expanding, creating jobs in all parts of Liberia. So, how about joining the team? With the partnership with you as Sarafina Venture Love FM TV, it's so powerful. This is something that I'm truly, my passion has even risen to a whole new level. So, Ava, my hats off to you. I myself, when you're talking, I'm going to take the position of being a student and to listen, to learn from you as well. So, whatever we can do together, and the following that you have to bring on your platform as well, and the following we have to bring on this platform to work together. Let this be a demonstration of what it means when like minds come together. We can do amazing and powerful things because no one person has had all the knowledge, no one person has all of the understanding, but the collective effort is so important that we can achieve greatness.
So, small business is the focus today as we began a few weeks ago talking about Liberian small businesses, the power that it has, and how it drives the economy. We can start from any of you. Let us get Mr. Toba to weigh in because last week it was wonderful. While you were away, Mr. Phillips, he touched bases on all of the things that we've been touching, and it was wonderful. That of conversation. A lot of people got eager to get glued. Like for today's edition, it promises to be a wonderful one, and we see the turnout is very huge. The number have increased. So, Mr. Tobias, Liberian small businesses. I even had an interview through the program. We will play that interview with a small business CEO. He's involved with this money exchange issue. He did tell me that there are a lot of difficulties they are faced with when it comes to the money exchange rates and people living up to the Central Bank of Liberia money exchange rate. He made mention of some of those challenges that happen to be people who are now registered or who haven't registered their business are also exchanging money, and they are causing serious inflation into the exchange, where central bank will say 192 is the buying rate, 193 or now 194 is the selling rate, whatever it is. You will have somebody who want to get the fast US dollars, will go to inflate the exchange rate. Central bank is in the ceiling of 194. They go up to 198, 199, or even 200. He said those are serious challenges they are faced with as small business owners operating within the Liberian business space.
So still have an echo. How do we resolve that?
Whenever one is speaking, you mute yours. Then when you are speaking, I mute mine.
Okay. So small businesses are very crucial to any economy. And in our case, where we don't have a lot of jobs, it's extremely critical. So in that sector that the young man is talking about, that's a very important aspect of the economy. And there need to be some regulation there. So I think they need to report this situation to the central bank on people increasing their exchange and probably undercutting the regular certified registered money changers. Um, People tend to take advantage of the market and they don't care what the impact is downstream. So it's important that our central bank, and I don't know how to regulate the sector yet. I don't have a full understanding, but I think it needs to be brought to their attention so they can see how they can manage it. Yes, it's good for those who want Liberian dollars to get more for the US dollars, and those who want US dollars to be able to get rid of the Liberian currency. And sometimes you don't know how they got the currency. So I think central bank need to investigate.
So you care for us to begin the teaching, beginning from Mr. October.
Today, I think we should focus on the importance of small businesses in the economy. Um, there are so many factors that small businesses contribute to. One of the major areas is job creation. And every time a small business owner can add another employee. It impacts the community. It impacts that person's family. It reduces the unemployment rate, and then it increases the general economic activity. Um, and then small businesses come in so many different sectors and in so many different forms. So it's diverse for the people. And then we know the creativity that comes with it. Many small business have to be able to adapt. Some of them have to be able to move quickly because it could be in one area. It's not, people not resonating with the products, people not engaging them, and then they tend to move, to a different place. So in that mode, they tend to drive, the kind of activity that can be determined in different areas. And it's just a wonderful thing for us to continue to foster this entrepreneurial spirit because it's only through you trying to build your own thing, trying to innovate, that you can start to change the area around you and improve stuff. So we've talked about it before, the importance of small business, but government has to be a part of magnifying that importance of small business. It can't just be only the business people, right? Because they need support, they need some incentives, they need um some facilitation when it comes to law. For example, we're just talking about the guys in the money changing business. If there are people who are not registered, who are in the business trying to undercut what the established rate is, the central bank has to look at those kind of things. So um, you know I think the importance of small business cannot be understated, but the small business people have to be trained for the businesses to be viable and sustainable. And they also have to be brought into the mainstream because that tax revenue generation from small businesses is extremely important. It contributes to public finance. So, there are a lot of other things, but I'll let Akino jump in and then I can add a few more.
Your point is well taken. There's no doubt. I think one of the greatest challenges of our time, or I should say, one of the great challenges of our country, right, over so many years is the lack of knowledge and understanding of the importance and the role that small business plays in our economy. If you listen to the news in Liberia over the course of 7 days, you will hear more information about the president meeting big companies coming in to make big investments, but you will not hear anything about the small business sector. You wouldn't hear anything about, you look at a county like Maryland County, for example. There are not more than 10 big companies in the entire county of Maryland. But when you consider how many small companies or small business petty traders, in Maryland County that hold up that economy, transact more business through mobile money than all of those big companies combined. You look at Riverside County. So I think there's a general lack of understanding and knowledge as to the role that small business plays in our economy. And I think that's what this show is all about. When you and I were having a conversation, I think what was it, this week, and you said the lack of the data, right? The lack of the information that will actually, present this information and this knowledge so that people can come to the understanding and say, whoa, so our real future, our real development, our real economic growth and is tied to small business. You and I, we live in the US here. We've been here over 20, 30 years. We all know, like you rightly said, small business, the key to small business is that small business is local. Small business is local. Look at the convenience stores. The convenience stores don't do national business. They do local business. The gas station probably 5 or 10 minutes away from your house. They don't do national business. They do small business right there in the local neighborhood, providing a service and products to everybody. It's no different than the kiosk or in the neighborhood on Jamaica Road or the kiosk somewhere on in Bangladesh estate. So small business is so vital. And like you also said, I will buttress your point that I think leadership at all levels in government need to come to this understanding. And then I guess the role government or leadership will play them to make an impact will be directly related to their level of understanding of how important small business is, right? So if you don't know how dangerous the flies are to coming on your food, then you wouldn't drive the fly away. You see, so if you know that the flies carry bacteria, then you wouldn't even want them to be on your food. Then you close all the windows around your house. So if leadership in Liberia understands the role that small business plays in creating jobs, you look at Lofa County, for example. How many jobs are created by small business in Lofa compared to big businesses? I mean, that's a practical example. Look at Cape Mount County. How many jobs are created in Cape Mount because of small businesses compared to big businesses? You see, so I mean, every county in Liberia is a full representation of this truth, of this fact, that small business is where our focus, our concentration needs to be. And that's what this show is all about. We're trying to teach, we're trying to educate, we're trying to bring learnings to everyone, so that we can, somebody just mentioned the agricultural sector, which is the largest sector of small business in the whole country. Just think about all the farmers, the women, the men making gardens, planting produce, bringing it to the road to end up the red light market, Omega Tower market, and everywhere else. So small business is vital. It's very, very vital to every country around the world, to every country around. So I support your point.
Um, when we talk about, and you really talk about decentralizing the small businesses, right, in the counties, in the districts, and everything like that. Um, and also on a national level now, they are trying to decentralize as well, right? So hopefully they're doing it from both an administrative and a financial perspective, because the local taxes that small businesses can generate can also be very helpful to the local economy, to the local leadership, and they will be engaged in the community and benefiting the community, So it's very important that seriously, we'll keep harping on it until government can show face and do something. You just talk about companies coming in. It has to be clear when a big company is coming in, what is the set aside, or what would be the role of small businesses in engaging those big businesses or benefiting from them? Would it all be they want to be dealing with expat stuff, or will our local content be present in those businesses? So yeah, it's very important. And the agriculture sector really does hold a lot of potential for us. Just last night, I was talking to, look, and seriously, we have to embrace the diaspora. There are many people in the diaspora who have resources and ideas, but they need the right partnership on the ground. They need the right collaboration on the ground. They need the right facilitation, because there are incentives on the ground for people in the agriculture sector in terms of duty free when they meet certain threshold, whether they got $50,000 in a bank in Liberia, whether the investment is $500,000 or more, they got the tax clearance, and then they have a definite business or just an investment incentive plan that the National Investment Commission can see that they do it. So understanding those things make it possible for Liberians to be involved in our business sector, and they themselves, let's say the guy I was talking to last night, he's trying to come in and do pineapple and be able to build a factory for pineapple and get pineapple exported from Liberia. And his facility will be a USDA approved facility. That's how he's building it, so that other people can package and export from his facility, which would be a wonderful thing, because that's something I have been questioning consistently in terms of standard and us having the facility that our people, because I mean, there's another young guy in Magibi, Abel, AgroLinks. He makes magnificent product. He was teasing me with a depot and he had palava sauce on the depot. The thing was looking so good. I was just started feeling hungry right away. But if we can give these people the opportunities to export their food, yeah, the ethnic food market, the food we eat, the food, like they call it ethnic food here in the US because it's for people from different ethnicity, the food they bring in. Our food is adaptable, the food from Ghana, the food from Nigeria. That's a $4 billion plus market in the US. If we could take a portion of that thing with our exports, it will bring foreign currency to Liberia in terms of US dollars, and people will be more engaged in this whole farming thing, and they can benefit directly. So it's a chain effect. Everybody has to play a role. Government has to facilitate. Our farmers have to work. The people who doing the value addition, they have to have the factory there. Then this guy who's coming in with his facility where he can bag and label, because that's the key thing. The label and understanding the ingredients that can meet FDA standards is one of the key things for exporting. And then we still got AGOA, the Agricultural Growth Opportunity Act, that can, or the Africa Growth Opportunity Act, that can really help our farmers and help our people in these specific farming sectors. So the potential is huge, but we just need to collaborate. We need to not count each other money. We need to allow those who are real business people and want to make things happen to let it happen for them. So it's wonderful. Rufus, are you there? You're still on mute, Akina. You're still on mute.
$4 billion. I would take one product in that market that you and I, you agree with me. Palm butter.
You're speaking my language. You're speaking language. Keep going. Keep going.
So there are only two, as you know, Alva. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Anybody who's in the US watching the show can confirm. There are only two palm butters imported into the US: Ghana Fresh and Toffee. Am I right? Toffee is made right down the road in La Cote d'Ivoire, and the Ghana Fresh is made a couple of countries down in Accra. I mean, in Tema, Ghana. Why they made that? Energy. Okay, good. Okay, global. Very good.
Growth rate or compounded annual growth rate of 7.34%.
Imagine,
Wow. Go ahead. Go ahead,
yeah.
brother.
So just that one product, Toffee made just down the road in La Cote d'Ivoire, and Ghana Fresh made in Accra. And you and I being in the US, or every African store, African food store from California to New York, from Texas to Michigan, carries those two palm butters. I mean, just imagine what Liberia's role could be if we could tap into that market, 5% export into that market, compete, I mean, adding additional product into that market, and then considering our diaspora population. Now you talk about Liberians wanting to invest in the sector back home. So this is where AGOA plays a very important role for Liberia. But again, the Small Business Administration, the National Investment Commission, government as a whole, need to educate our folks, our Liberian businesses, on what the standards are. Like you just mentioned, the standards, the requirements, the specifications, the recommendations. Those things need to be done pre-hand so that our people strategically position themselves. Because this is what the Ivorians have done. This is what the Ghanaians have done, so that their people are strategically positioned, educated, informed, so that when they make the investment, the outcome of the investment has a higher success rate, if I can put it that way. Because when you invest into something without the proper knowledge and understanding, your success rate is significantly low compared to you investing in something with a higher level of knowledge and understanding on the specifications and the requirements of AGOA into import or to export to the US. So I think it's important that the LBA, the National Investment Commission, and everybody else can truly, work together cohesively to educate our local Liberian, even the local Liberian investors in the agriculture sector, and also those coming from the U.S. Because even if you're coming home to do pineapple export, right? So, and I experienced this in Ghana. That when I was back there, 97, 98, 99, 2000, we used to drink the pineapple juice in the bottle. Nice. But guess what? That pineapple juice was made from the leftover pineapples that didn't meet the standard for export. So the guy who was, yeah, that's exactly right. So you export one batch, right? And I remember vividly, we used to call it a pineapple plane. This Antonov cargo plane used to come 7 days a week, fly into Kotoka Airport early in the morning, and all of the tractor trailer trucks would come and load up with pineapples, and this plane would take off, and the next day is back to load up with more pineapple. But the pineapples that didn't meet the specification for export were then locally crushed and processed, and juice was made, bottled, and then sold in the local market as well, because again, the demand was there. So I think, like you said, this thing has to be done in an integrated way. It cannot be done, independently or in a separated way. This is an ecosystem, if I can use that word. It's an ecosystem. Everything is interdependent. Everything is connected. Knowledge has to be shared. Communications has to be shared. That's what this show is all about. We create the platform, let people talk. Let's have a discussion about, because this is so critical. I mean, just imagine planting pineapples in Cape Mount County, what that can do for Cape Mount. Okay, local job creation, manufacturing, value added, and then the wealth building component. This is not, we're not talking about making money. We're talking about creating wealth in the sector within the population. That's it. So this is not about making money. This is all about creating wealth, because when you locally grow, every stage, Ava, correct me if I'm wrong, every stage of the value added chain, you create more jobs. You plant, you create one set of jobs. When you start processing, you add new sets of jobs. And then every stage of the process, you add higher wage job and more technology driven job, because you need technical people to work on the machines, to service the machines, upgrade the machine, maintain the machines, packaging and everything else. So that entire ecosystem, I mean, is just is a wealth generator by itself in a country like Liberia, where we're less than 6 million people. Imagine how much wealth potential we can create within our borders, bridging the Liberians back home and those in the diaspora. Over to you, Rufus.
So, just a little technical point I want us to get across, just so we avoid the too many echoes. When one person is speaking, we mute ourselves on the both platforms so that it avoid us from having echo to our audience. So it's quite interesting. Lots of comments coming through, and we appreciate the comments. If you have any concerns, those of you following us, you can also put up your concerns. You are following People's TV, you are following Love TV and other platforms around connected to Business Talk. We appreciate all of you. Just to highlight some of you that are streaming this program live, Flash FM 102.2 in Zweju. We appreciate your relay of Business Talk. Smart, we appreciate your relay of Business Talk and all other platforms. We say thank you so kindly for the opportunity afforded us to do the relay of the show, because this is where Liberians will gain the necessary education. Because I was following a speaker, he talks about business and our salaries. He said, if you would depend on your salary to get rich, you will die poor. So you need to get involved with business that will empower you in all fronts to maintain the salaries would be just like a backup to the business to feed through the business and get things going up for you. But if you depend on your salary to get the business or to make living, you will die poor. So what do you make of that?
That's a though you may not die poor, but you would not gain wealth. Like we said, we're talking about building wealth here, wealth creation. And that's little different from getting salaries. For businesses, the potential, and he mentioned the point about our population, our size, but we have the capability to grow food that can feed so many people out there. And our government understanding the market, again, I'm getting echo. Our government understanding the market that's out there. That's what the small business should also do. We got to be able to provide access to international markets for our people. Like we look at this ethnic food, $81 billion. If we could find, specific products that we can just focus on and say, you know what, for Liberia, this is what we are going to do. This is how we're going to get our people out there to be able to maximize their own productivity in whether it's cassava, whether it's planting, whether it's all the different things we can plant. Just select one or two and try to dominate that market. Like right now, how, whether it's cocoa or whether it's peanuts, Ghana, Ivory Coast, all of them are doing those kinds of things. So we need to do something similar. I gotta find my charger.
Chris, I buttress Ava's point again. The point that Ava is making there is again, we need to fully this cannot be done in a vacuum. Okay, there has to be. I was reading something about Rwanda last night on my LinkedIn page, and this expat traveled to Rwanda. He said he was coming back after 7 years. Very interesting read. And one of the things he wrote there towards the end, in conclusion, he said that it is a joy to see and to understand that President Paul Kagame does not have hope as a strategy. Okay. So hope is not a strategy. You can't say we're hoping this thing all the way through. No, there's got to be a plan. There's got to be a real plan, a real strategy to deliver the results that you need. We talked about this even before you joined the show, how important it is to develop a plan and to put a team together and then develop a strategy so that you can then bring members of your team in to drive that plan to produce the result. That's what you just said. Okay.
Exactly.
I mean, if anyone who's listening to the program, go on to Google, please check and see what is the global market for cassava chips. Just dry cassava chips is a multi-billion-dollar market. Cassava chips. And last time I checked, cassava grows in every county across Liberia. But how much of it is exported as chips? Is a multi-billion-dollar market that can create so many, thousands of jobs in every county. You talked about, you just mentioned decentralization. The previous government signed the Liberian Decentralization Law, Decentralization Act, right, to create county management teams in every county. So what is that? How is that law going to fit in to creating, a robust agricultural sector in every county? Just on maybe, people only talk about cocoa and coffee and rubber, but cassava chips is a multi-billion-dollar market. Palm oil is a multi-billion-dollar market. That's just one. But what about the palm butter that so many people eat that feeds into the ethnic food market is a multi-billion-dollar market. What about our fruits, our grapefruits, our avocados, our cashews, so many of our tangerines, our guava? Here it is. If I want to drink, I mean, you and I, if you want to drink a glass of guava juice today, you go to the store. It's almost $5 for just for the carton. And here it is in Liberia. You know, nothing against anyone, but we are a tropical country growing all of these fruits, but yet still we're importing the fruits from countries in the Middle East who are in the desert. When the desert guy is exporting to the guy in the tropics, we have a serious problem here. There's something wrong with this picture. So I think somebody just put on people's TV the cassava market size was valued at $175.9 billion in 2022. The cassava market, the cassava industry is projected to grow from USD $183.25 billion in 2024 this year to $254.28 billion by 2032, exhibiting a compound annual growth of 4.18% during the forecast period of 2024 to 2032. Just imagine a cassava chips. What can this do for every county in Liberia? Local jobs creation, value processing or value added processing, and exporting from all of our ports, from Maryland to Greenville to Buchanan to Monrovia. I mean, just imagine what this can do at the local level and at all levels of our society. Job creation and wealth creation. Not, I mean, we don't talk about money on this show. We talk about creating wealth, because wealth lives for multiple generations. So I think, to your point, Ava, strategic thinking is something that we really need to do so that we bridge this gap between the diaspora Liberians here in the U.S. who have all of this wealth, okay, 401k plans, savings, and stuff like that, and Liberians who are already there doing some form of business. Bridging this gap is so important, because new inflow of capital into those Liberian businesses can stimulate economic growth, create more jobs, and move this country forward across all of the counties in Liberia. So I think it needs to be done in a fully integrated way. National Investment Commission, Liberian Small Business Administration, and any other private sector entities that can feed into this, so that we have an integrated approach to meeting our objectives of moving this country forward and building a robust private sector.
Yeah, it's very doable. It's very doable. We can do it, and I'm glad that some people are taking the initiative to start stuff. And the investments are significant, but the rewards are huge. So if somebody come in with a 1.5 2 million dollar, cassava processing or pineapple processing factory, that they can get this stuff out there on the market. We can be able to aggregate from our small farmers. We can start to set up storage facilities where these things are not wasted. I gave an example one time of me, going through the bushes of Riversides. The people will fix their fufu, put it in a big bag and stuff, and so that will lay it by the roadside and decay. So if we can build effective systems starting from the beginning of the land clearing all the way through the farming process, through the harvesting, through the production, through the value addition, to the export, where we build a system and we understand the role for all those different players. And this is not just only cassava or pineapple, but it can be for multiple products. But like you said, it has to be a strategic plan that we build from, we got the National Agriculture Plan, but now we got to dive down into sector-specific plans. And even within sectors, there are sub-sectors in some of those sectors that can be very thriving. Because we talk about whole cassava value chain, right? Just now in terms of the numbers are shared from people's TV. But if you just talk only about cassava chips, if that what we want to focus, that's significant as well. So the opportunity is there. It's about us coming together. And like Dwalu said, Dwalu is one of those major advocates for small business. One of these days, we'll bring you on the show to educate us and help us share information with people. And he's driving the Liberia Equity Fund process too, as well, for Liberians in the diaspora, to build a fund that can invest into these things we're talking about in Liberia, be Liberian owned, be competitive with anybody out there. Because, like he said, we have professionals who can do these things. We have professionals who can create the plan, create a strategy, implement as well. So we got to bring them to the table, get them involved, and let them do what they do. And that way, everybody along the chain can start to benefit, and we can see a different Liberia where the man, where we can redefine what farmer is, right? Sometimes I ask people, what is a farmer in Liberia? According to the Ministry of Agriculture, is anybody who can scratch behind their horse and plant something, a farmer. Okay? Farmer, farmers have to have a standard, and it got to be based on production or revenue. Whether it is you want to have 2 acres, you want to plant 2 acres, you want to have XY production, or you want to get at least $1,000 in farming revenue a year. That also feeds into taxation again. So everything is tied in. It all also depends on data. If a farmer just can't tell us, I got 10 acres, how do we know he has 10 acres? We have to be able to validate it. Now we got, area survey capabilities in Liberia where people can validate information given, where they got GPS now that they can use if they want to do it hand driven on the ground. But we got to validate what we put under production. We got to validate what's produced on those different areas. And we got to be able to analyze why John Peter Farm, with seeing 2 acres, is producing 10 tons of cassava, where Mary Johnson is only producing a 0.5. So those differences in production, we have to understand them. That's why Carry and any other extension service in Liberia is so critical in terms of research and supporting farmers. So we have some things in place. We just need that strategic plan and somebody implementing it with clean oversight and monitoring and evaluation to ensure that people not just going to the right, going to the left, and we're doing the right things, and we are progressing, we are grading ourselves, we are being objective, and we have that thing in mind, that target. Trading Africa, the people in Somalia, the people in South Sudan, the people in certain areas there, they need food, and we can supply those foods. Right now, what they call this stuff, moringa is a power food. Okay, we can see how moringa, we can elevate our production of moringa and be able to send it to those places where people are starving. So the opportunities are huge. We just need that orientation to focus on business and the facilitation for government to help us achieve those. LBDR, the banks, starting with LBDR can play a major role because some of these agricultural plans are bankable. They can look at it and say, yes, oh, this stuff can work. They already have an off ticker. The market is identified. It's just about us going through this process for them to get to the production level and be able to export. So it's all about us thinking and those who are in government working for those who they're supposed to serve for us to make this possible. Rufus?
Just buttress your point. Ava, one of the things you talked about your experience going through BUSIESSES and seeing the women, the hardworking women farmers down there doing their level of value addition to their fufu and putting it in the bags and putting it on the side of the road. But now just imagine, right? If you mention data, so Rufus, Ava, and all of those listeners, let's just think, for example. One of the things we talked about, one of the points we talked about before I went on vacation was using technology in small business, right? You mentioned about the GPS technology today. So just imagine you, Rufus, and Ava. Let's say we come up with about $100,000 between us, and we say, you know what, we want to get into the cassava chips business, right? So let's think at the level of Uber, okay? Uber and Lyft. They don't own any cars, but they control all the cars in America. Okay? They don't own any cars. They don't own any cars, but they control all the cars. I mean, just the application of technology killed the entire taxi cab market across the U.S. I mean, you just I'm just talking about the U.S. I'm not even going outside to other countries, right? So just imagine if the three of us would say, let's put some money together, $250,000, and we want to get into the cassava business, but we are not farmers now. We don't own any farms. So what do we do? We put out a big advertisement in the papers. We want agriculture technicians, all the guys who graduated from BWI, LOIC, Stella Maris, whatever the case is. We bring all these guys together. We teach them, we train them, we give them tablets, smart tablets with connected to Lone Star or around with Bob or bulk data, connect these guys and with GPS, right? We need you guys to go, and we give them motorbikes. We need you guys to go. You got these two counties, you got these two counties. We want you to go out there, find the farmers who are planting cassava. We need to find them who are planting cassava. That's exactly, yes. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So, and that's all we do. We find the farmers, engage them, take their pictures, set them up, get their mobile number, set them up all up, do a GPS coordinate, whether it's 1 acre, half an acre, 2 acres, whatever the case is, and say, you know what? All the cassava you're planting, when are you harvesting it? Oh, I'll be harvesting in 3 months, no problem. How much are you going to sell all your cassava? I will sell it for $200. Okay, you know what? I'm going to pay you 50% up front. That cassava, don't sell it to anybody. When it's time to harvest, contact us. We'll come and pick up the cassava. Within a month or 2 months, we would have owned thousands of acres of cassava, as we say with these global companies, right? Under asset management. That's the term. Am I correct? You're the MBA man here. Under asset management. So we will have under our management maybe 50,000 acres of cassava all across Liberia, but we don't own no farms. But we have already prepaid for all of that cassava. Because what we've done is that we've done our homework where we've already found a buyer, right, for all of these cassava chips. And all we need to do is to leverage the growers, our country, our ports, and then with a processing system that can add the value. So that's how this thing works together. Go ahead, Abba. Mhm. That's exactly right. Yeah. Hmm. 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 Yes. Hmm. Yeah. But it's the general concept I'm bringing here, right? So yeah, and, yeah, and the role of those agricultural techs, if you can remember, you and I were almost about the same age. You remember back in the days, right? They had the BC, the agricultural development projects in every county, BCA, DC, DP, LCA, DP, whatever the case is. So our agricultural techs, when you are tasked with a specific area, your job is to what? Make weekly contact with your role of farmers to make sure that everything is on track, and then you're updating using your smart device to our head office so we know exactly what's happening in those places. But technology plays a role, and like you said, we educate the farmers, no different than what we're doing, seminars or whatever the case is, on in the integrated process. One on the contract, your contractual agreements, the reason why we're paying you 25%. And then even if we can find a partner who provide farm tools to provide the necessary tools to these farmers to ensure that our investment gives us a return. But what I'm getting at is we have everything that we need to be successful. Liberia has everything we need to be successful. What's challenging us, what's missing in this process is the understanding of how important these small businesses are, one, and a strategic plan. A strategic plan. Because without a plan, okay, right, scripturally, the people perish. We go into captivity and we die. And this is where, a lot of Liberians are saying we've got everything. What makes us different than the people in Ghana? What makes us different than the people in Ivory Coast? Those folks have a plan. They have a plan, and they're working in an integrated way where they're connecting all of the dots. They're moving information, and most importantly, they're using technology. That's it.
Nestle,
And
government feeding program.
that's it. Playing a very, like you mentioned, the banking sector is playing a very, very important role because they're now understanding that these projects are bankable. And like you mentioned, government feeding program. Imagine where farmers have no worry about their food that they're growing, that is being paid, bought by government to feed all of the kindergarten schools on a daily.
Has the police, they got the soldiers, they got hospitals, and they got schools. Okay, all need food. All those have feeding program. They can do a rough order of magnitude estimate based on, and it doesn't even have to be rough because they got actual money they have expended over the last 5, 10 years. And that's why we say data is so critical. And they can look at the next year projection and say, look, 2025, we're really getting our farmers to be our producers, for our national feeding program. It will also help too for us to change the palate and the taste, especially when it comes to rice, that they push our rice can shift to eating our own homegrown rice. And some of our people got parboiled rice now they're producing, right? But still, our nutritious red rice, brown rice, we can start acculturating our young people and the people in the military and police to start eating that kind of healthy rice, and it will be better for them in the end. But I'm just saying, whether it's the rice, the potato green, the this, the that, all of these things can be facilitated by government because you already know that we eat X amount of food for this year coming. So farmer X in Nima can produce this, farmer Y, and we front some of these people the money for them to start their stuff and then pay them based on production. So if we can't do that, it will be difficult for our farmers to really get there. So the combination of government supporting it from their programs, the Small Business Administration, and then also some exportation of some of the products, expanding certain value chains. Yes, we can really boost agriculture in Liberia. It's highly possible. And, there are some dynamic people, people have always looked down on farmers as, uneducated or stuff. No, that's not true today. Many of the people in the farming sector today are understanding of the issues. They understand the economics of farming. They have some technical experience, and some of them are well educated. So if we can give them that opportunity to demonstrate and show what they're worth, somebody asking about portrait, I sent a note to the minister, or somebody had posted in one of the chat around just about livestock and our ability to produce some of those things, So there's just so much opportunity here, but we just need some support for these farmers and these producers for us to get to that level where we can start supplying different portions of the world with food and be that breadbasket that we are supposed to be.
And Liberia, just to add up to what both of you are saying, we cannot do all of these out of energy, what we call electricity. Government can also buttress the efforts of these businesses through the provision of electricity. That's one of the key factors in improving business and those who go about doing productions. It's costly to have you buy fuel for generators. But if you have electricity, it helps on a larger scale.
People cannot hear you.
Oh, you getting me now?
I,
Okay. I was saying we cannot do without electricity. All of these good points that are made, they cannot be done or come to fruition without electricity. Electricity is a driving force for businesses. A man who goes to the farm, get all of his produce, he needs to process them. And through the processing of these things, you need energy. What sort of energy are we providing? Can the government come up? Okay, now we are transitioning from the normal energy to solar energy. What plan government have to
can,
actually buttress in
are you
terms
on
of
mute? Can you unmute yourself on my side? Because the folks who are watching my stream are saying no sound.
oh, okay. Am I cool on that side? Okay. I would say all of the good ideas we've proffered, they are very important, but they cannot come to reality without the involvement of electricity. We need electricity as the driving force for production. You
Right.
cannot buy fuel. You cannot buy fuel, and it's costly. You know that. So if you have the government providing electricity that everyone can go and subscribe, like we have the LEC, you get your subscription today. They are on. Tomorrow they are off. It becomes a problem for those business owners. And Mr. Phillips, you have broader knowledge when it comes to the energy sector. What do you make of that? With the involvement of the energy sector boost?
You open that can of worms. So, so the reality is this, right? So last week, I was privileged to participate in the Black Business conference up in Atlanta. The president was there. President Joseph Imabwaka was there with his team. Great program, very good speakers. I even led a session on energy for Liberia. And there were so many African Americans interested in investing in Liberia. And even during the press conference that the president had, I raised this very same point. Okay. So let's connect the dots here. Let's reinforce what Ava and myself have been talking today. This entire small business success for Liberia's growth and development, prosperity, creating jobs, attracting foreign investments, and moving us forward to a level where we surpass Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, whatever the case may be, cannot be done with a strong foundation of energy. Now, I met a guy, one of the persons who I spent a lot of time with. I spent time with two key people at the program there. Dr. Ford, of course, but there was another gentleman I met, Brent Boyd. He's out of Ohio. He has a company there, and they're into solar energy. And he talked about, brought up the Liberia, the Local Government Act, the Decentralization Act. I showed him the section in the act, right, where the county management team is responsible for electricity and water, revenue generation, and everything else. And I said, look, what can we do? You're an investor. You're looking at solar energy. Liberia is a great candidate. We talked about the agricultural sector. We talked about some of the same thing we talked about Yaba. And then I talked, and he said, "Man, that's huge potential." I said, hey, "Hang on now. Don't put that briefcase down. Don't put your money on the table yet. We got to solve this thing first. Electricity is the key." So I said, "What can we do, considering our deficiency, our challenge on the energy side with our hydro?" But then I explained to him the Transco grid, and then the need for us to distribute the power, and then bring investors in to do that. So I will use Alva's point that he mentioned. All of these dots have to be connected, and this thing needs to be done in an integrated way. So nothing can be done or with success in isolation. This is fully, it has to be done in an integrated way. Liberia's development, Liberia's growth, the promotion of the agriculture sector, the creation of the value chain, creating jobs, attracting foreign investment, all of that is premised on energy. Energy plays an important role. You look at the everything I was talking about, from the cassava chip being a multi-billion-dollar business. How are you going to process the chips? How are you going to dry the chips? How are you going to store the chips? How are you going to package the chips? When you get them down to the port, what's going to run the cooling system to keep it within specifications so that it meets the AGOA or every other specification for export? Those are all things that need to be discussed in an integrated way. There's got to be a panel of people who meet on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis to connect all of these dots. The banking sector needs to play an important part of this. Why? Because these, as I will use Alva's term, these are bankable projects because there are people who are prepared to take the products off the assembly line. If Liberia can produce 150, 44 containers of dry cassava chip packaged in 25 kilo bags, that, trust me, rest assured, with this number in the global market, there is a buyer somewhere, Singapore, Malaysia, wherever, who will take that. Who would take it? Who would gladly take that? But the challenge becomes when we're trying to do things in isolation. We're trying to do things in isolation. Let me please close this door. We're trying to do things in isolation. And in isolation, it will not work. You would turn this, and then you're gonna run back and turn this one. Then you have to run back and turn the other one. Everything needs to be done in an integrated way. Go on, Ava.
Yeah, so another example, and I've seen this a lot of time with some of the grants that are out there in terms of matching funds, and that's where we should be able to come together. Dwalo, I hope you stay listening. And I will get to the power thing in a little bit, but a lot of grants are out there that want matching funds, and we as Liberians have to be able to bootstrap and find some of those funds and help those people who are already in the business, and I think this platform would be an opportunity, and like I have always wanted in terms of the Liberian integration and transformation movement, to connect those who have the ideas, those who are already in the space, with people who may have some other strategies, people who may have resources, or people who may have the network to connect those resources. Yes, nothing is free. We just want people to understand, and it has to be contractual. If you have that business, you got to be open to other people coming in and being a part of your business. It's so hard for one person to just build something grand. They got to have partners. They got to have facilitators. They got to have people who help them in different ways along that chain. So it's something that we just really start thinking about, Dwalo, as we try to get people in this equity fund. We can start little by little, just how you are suggesting that we can farm our way into adequate power production. We can also farm our way into a huge Liberian equity fund. But in terms of power, yes, we need power. But the early stages of production may not need power. Let's say if the government is talking about, I think, about regional agriculture right now, and having regional centers, centers of excellence. So if they had, mechanized equipment in some of these areas that can help these farmers clear faster, do certain things faster, if they had additional implements, even plant faster, it will be very helpful, to these farmers to start that process. But in terms of this whole energy thing, not everybody would need a warehouse. We need energy for storage, but there's a program, and that's where we need the concentration of people. Why is Power Africa there? What has Power Africa done for Liberia? We need to assess that. What are they really supposed to be doing in terms of moving our power sector forward? We need to be able to look at that. Sometimes, I partner with Cottington in terms of applying for, energy for our university. but they said they wanted something from 10 million up. If that's the case, then let government Liberia cooperate with some of the players in the sector and get those $10 million mini grids, if that's what they want. So it's about being able government to be very responsive and tracking these different opportunities for Liberian farmers, Liberian business people, because energy, we can't shortchange the impact of energy on small business growth and impacting the economy. So we need that. We need them to look at it in that space. But since we're focusing on agriculture right now, we can start looking at solar energy as well, because um a few, how should I say, a few panels can make a difference, whether with irrigation or whether with storage or whether with the actual production of the product. So gradually, like God was saying, we can start this thing, but energy is a necessity. And we have to look at it in a programmatic fashion where we say, okay, we're starting it now without energy, and then we build to it. We stay hearing you, Akino. You got to mute. So folks, this is very, very important. I don't know if Rufus wants to open the lines for some of the people on the ground to provide some input. We have another 15 minutes to go, just so we can hear from them before we close up. Because
Yeah.
Thing that didn't happen 10 or 15 years ago was all of the unproductive acreage under lease by the various oil producers just used to sit there. But now here it is with the promotion of solar energy. The producers are taking their unproductive acreage, building 3, 4, 5, and 600 acre solar farms and creating their own utility so that they can reduce their production costs from paying a utility bill to Texas, New Mexico Power Company, and then producing their own energy, lowering their cost of production, thereby increasing their increasing their profitability. So it's the same thing on our side. You use the word mini grids. I think if for me as a business development specialist and an engineer, if I sat down with 3, 4, or 5 banks in Liberia today, I can convince them to invest in the energy sector. Why? Because it's profitable. It's profitable. Why? Because the demand is there. But the question is, with the you mentioned it with the promotion of mini grids, right? Mini solar grids in every county, 3, 4, 5 megawatts that can be funded by an Echo Bank or the LBDI, whatever the case is, and then build an industrial park that can be powered by that mini grid to support agri processing. That's a solution because they are off takers for all of those products. That is something that can be put on a piece of paper, get the bankers to sit down and get government backing for it, because there are people who want those products, whether it's the palm butter, whether it's the processed pineapple, or whatever the case is. There are people wanting it. So these are bankable projects, but is the conversation being had? And are the right people being brought to the table to have these discussions. And I think we as Liberians need to look more internally amongst ourselves for solutions as opposed to looking outside first for solutions. Liberians over the past 25, 30 years have invested in education. We've become more knowledgeable, more experienced in the diaspora. So we're prepared to contribute to have these conversations and discussions. But most times our leadership always look outside first as opposed to looking amongst our people. So I think, these are bankable projects. We just need to get the financial sector involved. Maybe we Liberians in the diaspora need to come together to create some form of an investment fund and then fund these projects by ourselves, those who are landowners amongst us, and see how we can get these things done. Because I think that the time is now. Back to you.
Okay, so we past the time, nearly closure. So let's get your views, those questions, right here on the program by calling the following numbers: 0887 5073. You've been listening to the program. You've been listening to all of the points. You want to weigh in. You want to ask those questions. Maybe you are bothered by something concerning the topic, small Liberian business, and you can ask those questions. Mr. Arkina R. Phillips is here. Mr. Alvar Toba Jr. is also here. They're going to answer those questions for you. You can put your calls through on 0887 105 105 0778 5073. Just a reminder, Business Talk comes on every Saturday from 2 to 3:30 p.m. right here on your favorite dial, of course, Love 105.1. We are also streaming live on our online radio, loveradioonline.com. You can also follow us on People's TV in the US, across the world. You can get us. So let's go to the line and take our very first caller. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rufus Divine Kane. My name is Melvin Dwayne. I'm calling from Cinco, following the conversation.
Melvin, let's hear you.
Okay, so what has been discussed is very important, most especially with our serious focus on involvement into in the agriculture space. One of the major issues that you raised was the issue of energy, and now that renewable energy is gradually entering a space of like during our agriculture space, I think it's an opportunity for us to take advantage of. Why it's true that we still have issue with our national grid. Once most of the major farmers or businesses move to renewable energy, it's going to help a lot. It's going to reduce a whole lot of cost in terms of electricity consumption. So it's a very good program looking at all of the other sectors in the agriculture space. There are just so many opportunities for Liberian to tap into.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Melvin. 0887 105 105 0778 5073 are the numbers to call, ask questions, make addition, input to what you've been hearing. And let's get going because this is about us. We complain of, foreigners taking our economy, foreigners in charge of our economy. You yourself, through this program, you can get the ideas to make that little plenty chip out of something that you can lay your hands on and get to make living. If you, before you made up your mind, you have a very big business. You started with your little plenty chips. You move on to a widow market. From a widow market, you got a shop. From a shop, you go into a store. Then you start talking about exporting and importing and all stuff like that. It starts from a small beginning. 0778 665 0778 665 0887 105 105 are the numbers to call this afternoon and form part of the program Business Talk. Over to you, Mr. Togwa. You heard him. Kindly unmute yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So every step of the way you just mentioned, talking about just retail market, shop, store, uh, wholesaler, distributor, importer. So we have to be able to elevate our people at every step of the way. And that's why market women we identify those who can become wholesalers, those who can become importers. So it takes work. That's why the Small Business Administration has to be involved with all these different areas to help these people get to that level that it's supposed to get to. So it takes work for government to work, and we just hope that as we talk these things, we can start to build some, you know, focus, and we can start to advocate, you know, to the Ministry of Commerce, to the Ministry of Labor, you know, what is our labor statistics like? Where are we going, next in terms of job creation? What should we be preparing our people for? So if this focus can be on agriculture, and we can say we boost up our training for our people, we boost up their capacity, we facilitate for them as much as possible, we look at the sector and say this is where opportunities are in the international market. So for the domestic market to reach that level, here's what we need to do. We need 5,000 farmers farming, 10 acres each of butter pear. That's another huge market that we need to look at, because right now most of the people in the US import they call it guacamole after they process it. They import their guacamole from Mexico. Mexico is having problems right now with different drug cartels and everything. So production and the supply chain is inconsistent. Can we find a way where government can support the production of, guacamole, and we can do some price comparison and see how we're coming lower? We can start to steal some of that market from them. So it's about government working. It's about government helping the private sector to get to that space where we can really become really, really strong in agriculture. So, it's just important. I think this show will just continue to build. Yes, avocado. Thank you, Festus. Um, Once we can continue to build and continue to inform more people and expand the group of people that are our listeners and our base, we'll start to find them coming together, and people will try to find each other and network and make some of these things happen. So whether it's the beef, whether it's the livestock, whether it's the X-axis from the pig, whether it's the chicken egg that my man Jusu is really harping on about here, which is very important. We can grow our own chicken and grow our own eggs here. But there's a lot of opportunity in the agriculture sector. And the more we feature it and we start to bring on some of our agriculture experts, whether it's my man Dr. Hare, whether it's Stanford Peabody, whatever, Mr. Masekwe or Dr. Masekwe, all the people in the area, even the Minister of Agriculture himself coming on here and sharing some of, what people hearing what people are saying and sharing some of his solutions and exactly what they are doing. That's one of the areas where I think government can improve on sharing what they're doing so that people understand and can be able to support that, or they can be able to apply for some of the things that are available out there. So folks, this is exciting for me. And I love the participation, the education we're getting from the people who are listening, especially the people in the agriculture sector. Without question, La Victor, cashews are important. I know one or two people who have started the cashew business, but because I think COVID affected them, so they had a setback. But we got to restart. We got to restart holistic agriculture around the country and understand what we're doing. Those different pockets of the country that are doing well in agriculture, whether if you look at Nimba and some of the things that happen in there, or you look, in Bourne County and see some of the things that happen in there. Even Bourne County, there's some improvement on the electricity side as well. So gradually, if we can figure all these things, this is a big puzzle. If we can start to understand the pieces and how they fit and how they relate to each other, we can do very well.
Let me buttress your point here. Let me just buttress your point here, Rufus. I'm still backstage on your platform. That bring me back in, but Ava, one of the things you mentioned here that is so critical to all of what we're doing here is the connection, the networking. People attach themselves to plans. Okay, plans are very important. You can have the best plans. You can need all of the help to bring those plans into reality. But if nobody knows about the plan, and that's why people like myself, who are business development specialists, that's what we do. We try our best to take your plan, take the idea, and then we market it and we bring it forth to possible investors, educate them, inform them, and bring him to a level of understanding to say, you know what, this is something that's bankable. We sell it to the banking sector. They say, look, you know what, the agriculture sector of Liberia is such a bankable opportunity for you in the banking sector. Nothing better for a bank than perpetual revenue stream or cash flow. And the other point that I will also buttress for you that you mentioned today, the agriculture, the farmer, the definition of the Liberian farmer is changing. Correct me if I'm wrong. There are more educated people coming into that sector today. I met a guy from the US at the conference. He's planting rice, I believe, in Bon County. Okay. I mean, this guy's from the diaspora. He's got several acres of rice production. But what was his challenge? His challenge was electricity, cost of production. So we've got more Liberians from the diaspora who are coming into the agriculture sector. But again, they're not attaching themselves to part of the long, short, medium, and long-term plan or strategy of the government, like you rightly said, because they don't even know what the government's short, medium, and long-term plans are. So once those plans are publicized, then what people will do, they will attach themselves to specific areas within that plan. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, to say, like you said, cassava, avocados. Okay, avocados. I mean, almost every supermarket in the U.S. has avocados. That's from California all the way to New York. Just imagine, and the Eastern Seaboard is just what, 8 hours from Robert International Airport. Bacado plane. It's just 8 hours. So we have the geographical strategic positioning. We have the land mass. We have the eager, hungry people to plant, but we don't have the plan and the strategy. We have the banking sector that's competent and capable of investing in that, but we don't have the strategic plan and strategy as to how to connect the different dots. And then the lack of energy plays into that as well. So, like you rightly say, every step of the chain doesn't require energy. Okay, there's not energy for planting, maybe for irrigation, but that can be achieved by solar. But then when it comes to processing and adding value, that's where energy is needed. So I think, the show, we did good on agriculture today. We brought more people in. People like Dr. Hare, we grew up together in Firestone. I mean, he's into the food side as well.
Oh, Dr. Hare watching?
No, I'm just mentioning him.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. So but again, let business talk be that place where we can bring the best minds, the brightest minds amongst us Liberians. Let us network on this platform and let us maybe be the initiators, right? The initiator, the catalyst to have the big conversations where Liberians would truly have a discussion, because there are wealthy people in Liberia and they're sitting on their money. They don't know where to invest their money. The banks are there. They don't know where to invest. So I think if this becomes the catalyst, if this becomes the initiator that drives them to look at different sectors, then we've achieved our greatest objective. I really do.
Hey, one
What he said, which was very important. But look, we'll continue this, and in some instances, we'll repeat some of this information, because as we build, there will be more people coming in who will not have the previous the benefit of having the previous information. So we'll have to repeat some stuff. So for those who there were no sound for, we apologize. We'll definitely get this technical challenge right in terms of streaming on multiple platforms. And then, hopefully we can be able to really, really start to drive the kind of discussions that Akina was just mentioning, with so many key players, networking people, and really making this thing happen from a small business perspective, from a business perspective, and the integration of the diaspora, the regular people on the ground, plus government facilitating for everybody and make us a big happy family in terms of how we Liberianize business in Liberia. And but before I go, let me give a shout out to Representative Tawongwe. He had a session last night, the meet and greet for him where people were listening to him about his vision for his county. I got there real late. Unfortunately, I was at a funeral most of the day for one of my quote unquote nephews. His dad and his dad, is going through some very tough times. His name is Anna Badio, but his uncle Danny Diggs was my schoolmate at Cuttington back in the 80s, and we were both involved in an accident in 1982 where Danny passed away. And this kid was named after Danny, and he himself has now, gone to the great beyond as well. We pray for the family. We hope that Anna will be strengthened. We hope his mother, Manu Kamara, will be strengthened and, be able to deal with this, because loss like that is not easy for anybody, for any family. But losing a child, especially, is very tough, because I watched my mom after my sister passed away and how it was a real toll on her, how she really went through, some very tough times dealing with it. And to be honest, she never fully dealt with it until she herself passed away. So I pray for them. I pray that it will be strong, that it will be able to find some kind of replacement. It will not be a full replacement, but it will be something for them. So wonderful platform, Rufus. Thank you for this. Akina, thank you for this. Let's keep, trying to share and learn from our people out there.
Mr. Phillips, your body?
Well, again, Abba, thank you so much for sharing the platform, Rufus. Rufus, even though you were piloting today, we had a couple of rough spots. As the pilot, we always say we're going to hit a couple of air pockets. So we had a couple of, bumps here and there. But it's technology. The more we use it, the more familiar we'll become of it. But Abba, thank you so much for participating with us. Greater things are to come. Greater things are to come. And let's keep this discussion going. Great session today on agriculture, connecting all the dots. Ava will come up with what we should discuss next week. Let's continue the discussion in the group, in the WhatsApp group. If you want to join the WhatsApp group, reach out to Rufus or Ava, myself, and we'll add you into the group, so we can have the more discussions even after the program. Don't forget, Business Talk is every Saturday here on both platforms. And again, this is the no politics zone. No politics on here. Only business, all about Liberia, growth, development, creating wealth at all levels of our economy. Thank you so much, Rufus. Thank you so much, Ava. Have a great weekend.
Business talk is always here for you, and we look forward to all of the participation from your end. Make sure to tell a friend that indeed every Saturday from 2 to 3:30 we give you a full package of information that you need to know to grow your business and get informed. Some of you got into business because you saw somebody doing business, but it is important that you get glued to Business Talk to give you the guide in being a successful business person. You can start with your Wheeler Market, or you start with a little plenty chips. You develop from selling the plenty chips to becoming an owner of a Wheeler Market, a shop, a store, and you start going international. It did not happen overnight. There were energy put into it. And always remember, put God first in all that you do. My name is Rufus Divine Cannon, and the great men brought you ideas that you can use as tools and not to abuse. Have yourselves a wonderful and God bless day from our end.
Talk, business talk. In 1 hour 30 minutes, we provide listeners with up-to-date information and insights into various aspects of business and finance. We engage in insightful discussions with local and international business leaders, economists, entrepreneurs, and other professionals. Join Love FM 105.1 and Love TV Live this and every Saturday from 2 to 3:30 p.m. for the program Business Talk. Gain valuable insights into the world of business as we profile out of Liberia as they provide business strategies, entrepreneurship, and financial planning. Business Talk, your one stop shop in the world of business. It's on Love FM 105.1 every Saturdays, 2 to 3:30 p.m. Don't miss out.